Alright, so today, this is the lesson for today. It's March 11th. We're going to talk about logarithms and how they're related to exponents, okay? And we're going to be using Desmos today. So you'll be flipping between here and Desmos. What I'd like you to do on your iPads as we work, you're going to be, you see that I could zoom in on your iPad. You could write as we go, okay? So, I'm going to do a little bit of it with you, and then I'll show you on Desmos on the screen. And then we will continue on from there. Okay, so let's work on it. The objective today is to find the relationship between logarithmic and exponential functions on a graphing calculator. Some of you don't know that yet, or still haven't connected that. Some of you have barely gotten that. But there's a reason why we're flipping x and y, right? Raise your hand if you kind of have an idea of why we're flipping x and y. Raise your hand if you have no idea why we do that. That's okay if you don't. Okay, so today we're going to figure out why we do that in math, okay? Something called an inverse relationship, okay? So just with your neighbor, turn your neighbor, and what are the steps to graph the following equation and write them down? So I'll start you off right here. What's the first step? You need to flip x and y. So write them down on your iPads as you go. I'll give you 2 minutes to do that. Isolate the what? No. Isolate which letter? Okay, isolate y, and then what do we do? After I isolate y on the new one, so the first step here, I'm going to do it on the side here on the top left. You flip x and y, so it's going to be x is equal to the common log of x minus, or y minus 1, all minus 2. Okay, and then you said step 2 we need to isolate the y. So there's going to be a variety of mathematical steps I'm going to do here. It's going to be x plus 2 is equal to the common log of y minus 1. And we're just isolating that y. So we got 10 to the x minus 2. This is still step 2, or x plus 2. All in its own parentheses is equal to y minus 1. So 10 to the x plus 2 plus 1 is equal to y. Okay? Now what do I do after I figure that out? Make a table, right? So I'm going to write that down. You're all writing that down on your notes. Make a table. Okay, so I'm going to make a table, XY table. All right, so what letter or what number should I use for, or what should I start with on my XY table? What's the clue? Okay, we want the one that makes the exponent equal to 0. So how do I make this exponent equal to 0? We have x plus 2. What should I use? Negative 2. What are two smaller numbers than negative 2? Negative 3 and negative 4. What are two bigger numbers? Negative 1 and 0. Okay, so we're plugging these in. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. 10 to the negative second is 1 100th. 100th plus 1 is 1 and 100th. Next one, we got 3. Negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. 10 to the negative 1 is 1/10. 1/10 plus 1 is 1 and 1/10. Okay, next one is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. 10 to the 0 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, right? And this is how we're doing it for our test, right? Negative 1 plus 2 is 1. 10 to the 1 is 10 plus 1 is 11. Then 0 plus 2 is 2. 10 squared is 100 plus 1 is 101, right? And this is all how to graph the exponential function. If I were to plot these points on my graph, why don't we plot these points, please, on your graph? You can pick a color if you like. I know the numbers are kind of hard to see, but try your best. We have negative 4, so I'm going to go negative 4 up 1 and 100th, which is a point right there. Okay. Negative 3, 1 and 1/10, which is just a little bit higher. Negative 2, 2. Negative 1, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then we have 0, 101, right? It's growing pretty quickly here. This is the exponential version of the graph, but what are we really graphing? What's the original problem? Graphing a what? What are we really graphing? What is it asking for at the beginning? What's the point of this first problem? What am I graphing? What is it? A what? A logarithm. What did I just graph? Did I graph a logarithm just now? No, what did I graph? What kind of graph is this one? Exponential, right? Did you all get that? So did I do this problem correctly yet? No. So now what's the fourth step? Flip x and y again, okay? So I want you to see the differences, okay? Flip x and y. I think that's x and y. Okay, so on we're going to flip x and y now. So instead of x's, we're going to put y's and vice versa. So our y's we're going to write as -4, -3, -2, -1, 0. And then our y's are going to become our x's are going to become our y, or vice versa. So you got 1 and 1/10, or 1 and 1/100th, 1 and 1/10. 2, 11, and 101, okay? So y'all writing this down, right? Okay, so now let's graph this. If I were to graph this, I'm going to pick a different color. Why don't you guys pick a color that you want to use? I'll use red here to show the actual answer. Oh, by the way, what's our last step here? Graph, right? Okay, so we're going to take our XY table and we're going to graph, okay? So this is what we've been doing for the last month here. And we're still having a little bit of trouble. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, -1. Okay, what are you noticing about both of my graphs here? Just turn your neighbor, maybe explain what you notice, okay? Turn your neighbor, talk about what are the similarities and differences between these graphs. Okay, what are some words that you used with your neighbor? Opposite, what's that? Reflexive, okay, or maybe reflection. Do you all see maybe a reflection? Okay, so what you're going to do right now is you're going to continue this. You're going to go to Desmos, okay, and you'll be using a graphing calculator. I want you to do the next section. You'll be using a graphic calculator to investigate the relationship between exponential and logarithmic graphs. On Desmos, input the following graphs. I'll do this first part with you, and then you're going to graph it on your paper or on your iPads, okay? And I'll walk around helping you. So, okay, so on Desmos, what's the first equation that's out of the three? Y is equal to what? Can someone read it off for me? Log of what? X what? X plus or minus 1? Down here. Okay, x plus 1 and then what? Minus what? Okay, good. And then you're gonna go to Desmos and you're gonna create another equation. Oh, sorry. Done. So you're gonna click on a new expression. What's the second equation? Y is equal to what? 10, to the x what? Okay. And then what's the third equation? Y equals x. Okay. So I want you to do that in a graphing calculator. I want you to see what I have here. I'm going to pause the recording here. You're going to work this next